You're listening to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, 100% listener-supported radio, and now we return you to your host.
And welcome everyone to another episode of Adventures into Reality, live on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. I am joined by my intrepid co-host, Kathy Ma. Welcome to the show, Kathy.
Thank you. It's so great to be here. As usual, it's always a lot of fun.
Yes, we are going to have another session where people will be able to call in for conversations with us, but that will not be until after the first break. So in about 30 minutes, everyone get those fingers ready to dial in. We only take a limited amount of time in that last hour and a half of the show. So for all those that will want to call in and have conversation with us, you must wait until after the first break. So, Kathy, we have an exciting conversation that we want to get into. This show is about healing. It's about becoming more adept and disciplined. And both you and I, in our 20-plus years of experience, have been around the world and have had countless numbers of experiences in dealing with other people, other personalities, and other cultures. What are some of your out-of-country stories that you've been dealing with in the commonality of the sessions that you have?
Out of the country experiences, very, very interesting question. I would say for me that the thing that I see a lot of, probably the last few years, is more of the chest area and the breathing kind of area with people, whether it's because of the pollution, the air quality, or whatever you want to call it, depending where you are. These seem to be really big topics with people. And the type of healing practices that I've heard and seen a lot of success with mainly are the hands-on healing or, many different forms of hands-on healing, I suppose. Also, the use of different kinds of essences, whether it's as simple as essential oils or something much more exotic down to like the Bach flower remedies or the Australian bush flower remedies. Then jumping over to the east to seeing the types of herbs they use, even if it's just the tea or what they call the Chinese herbal medicine, which is kind of like herbs all boiled up together. But those are the things that I've found over the last few years are increasing in popularity and effectiveness for these type of issues with people.
Yeah, and I've noticed that myself when I'm dealing with out-of-country clients in sessions that a lot of times their individual cultures color their experience before they go and have the experience. And sometimes that's a good scenario and sometimes that's a bad because, those that have their upfront belief system that it has to be this way, or this way. And when the mystical comes, it ultimately shows them, there is no single way.
Yes, and it also opens up that door for distant healing, all
Right.
different forms of distance healing, which is, again, getting into very interesting topics, and different modalities have different ways of doing it. So one can really have a smorgasbord of things to choose from. It really kind of depends who you have access to really by phone these days.
The phone or Skype,
Yeah.
or even just in the old days, they just sent you a picture.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
And often you didn't even know who it was. They would just post it.
No name at all.
Yeah.
Just the date
Yeah.
of the picture. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, now with modern technology and the social media and digital, it's much easier and you get more information. But in the old days, you didn't get that kind of stuff at all.
Yeah, you had to connect into your own frequency of the stream. So like when you and I do private sessions, we have a scenario where we are remotely connecting to a person, as do many other people in the trade are able to remote use their skills. And one of the big things in healing is you can do remote healings, remote observings, remote blessings. All of those things are within your availability. It's a matter of time, effort, and energy that you're going to put in to learn the skill.
Very much so. And, you brought up an interesting side point that I need to address, excuse me, about our private sessions, because we've had so much response to our show and it's been so positive. But just so that people have that information out there and so I don't forget to say it, For those of you out there that are interested in private sessions that want to go deeper with your questions with either Andrew or myself, go ahead and call the office now at 360-894-0692. And if you're not in America, then you need to put the one country code for America. And they will be happy to answer any questions that you have. Again, the number for a one-on-one session with Andrew or myself is America code 1, then 360-894-0692. Now, I had to get that out of the way so I don't forget.
Yes, we have marketing slave drivers behind us going, whoosh.
Yes, now we will have a tap on the back. Going back to the remote healing, I mean, it really does open so many doors, and so many different cultures all have a version of it. I mean, from the Chinese to the Japanese to the American Indian to Australian, every different culture has its own inherent type of distance healing, whether it's as simple as a prayer to as complex as having to cook a complicated formula of something that you ingest or inhale or use as a poultice.
Mm-hmm. All of those things come under the belief system structure that people are working with. And one of the things that you and I both often love in our private sessions is when people are challenged by their belief system and they begin to expand themselves, where they finally are allowing the mystical to happen at a little trickle, and then they follow that trickle into the great explosion of life.
Yeah. And it's always very interesting and in fact, heartwarming to see people develop and heal and have change at that, from the microscopic level to the great level, just to see how they can also affect change for themselves is very, very exciting stuff.
Exactly. And in so many scenarios, I come across people that are, how do I put this, just stuck treading water. They've climbed their mountains, and they're on a plateau, and they're just treading water in that plateau. And they're either stuck on creativity or stuck on the scale that they want to work in. And so many find it tough to get out of their slave job and into something that empowers them with abundance.
It is difficult. It's difficult to stop and look and then make that effort to change. It sounds so simple, but it's very difficult.
Right. One of your specialties is observing the business energies. And you're unique at that ability of understanding how the different energies affect the choice processes that people have to go through. But early on, when people are trying to empower themselves, there are a lot of common things that business people make mistakes on. And, both you and I run into them. But when we're going beyond the uncommon, where you have a great product and it's not working, you've got to look back at it. That's where your spirituality affects your products, affects your business, affects the people that are working around you.
That is very true. And it's often something small that you don't even realize at the time. But because you're so submerged in it, you really can't see it. Or perhaps it's just too well hidden that you don't notice it. And, I'm sure you've had the same experience as me when you're doing business readings, is that very often, I wouldn't say very often, but let's say at least 30% of the cases that come through are always having to go back to basics. And it's not necessarily the basics that they thought are the basics, because what one person's perception of a rise in development and marketing and sales is not necessarily the same as a big overview view of what it looks like. So it's very interesting, and I find most people get a lot out of going back and looking at the beginning from our perspective, because we really are not that, what is the word, not involved, we're not that emotional about it. So it's much easier for us to look at it.
Exactly. It's much easier for us to look at it because we're observing the energies, we're observing the seen and the unseen processes that are going on there, and translating it back to this language that helps people understand the patterns that they may be repeating and not be seen.
Yes. And, we all have the same issues. I mean, you've got it, I've got it, they've got it. It's not a unique to some person. And, at many times in your life, you just need someone to help you just take stock and see what opportunities are coming up, what are you missing out on, what opportunities there might have been that you just went poo-poo, I don't even know what that is, or big ones where you have not given them any credence because you didn't understand where that big picture is going yet.
Exactly, where that big picture is going. And some people only see the little picture, because they're the one that created the idea of their product, and helping people think big. That's something else both you and I are very, very good at, is taking the old molded perception and making it bigger so that you can see how abundance can flow into your life much easier.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's incredible the difference it can make.
Right. I see so many people doing it the hard way every time, and then they get a PhD in the school of hard knocks, and then at that point they're just bitter and angry.
Yes, yes, and that disillusionment is really hard to get out of, because you internalize it, and often you think it's you, and you just can't get out of that "it is me, I am" sort of thing, when it actually isn't about you. But because you're so involved with it, you take on all that blame and guilt, which doesn't belong to you at all.
Exactly. And when we start taking on debt, which we hear me talk about all the time, it's this debt that you give yourself. Guilt debt that you created on your own because you didn't succeed in a goal that was, in the first place, far too obtuse for you to obtain. Or far too minute for it to give you any true abundance back. Just because you have a product, an idea, or a concept doesn't mean that the audience will consume it.
Yes. It's funny how that works. Why aren't they interested in the same things? I don't get it.
Exactly. I have all this passion and inspiration for this, and oftentimes it comes down to what? Your marketing.
Yeah, yeah. And they call me a stalker, they say. I know. It really is incredible what taking 3 steps back can do, and have an overview. I mean, if there's nothing else that you have interest in, it's looking at the overview of what's going on in terms of business is extremely helpful and very rewarding either way, because even if you can't take on board any of the concepts, at least you have some foreknowledge about things to avoid. And, that's a big part of what it's about.
So when it comes to dealing with relationships, what's one of the first subject matters we tackled on this show is so many people, their business and personal relationships get intertwined. And, whether it's husband, wife, so on and so forth, one of the things that I say is healers need to come together in a form of a loose union. And oftentimes people that have been on spiritual journeys want to go in businesses together. And you hear one side that says, no, never do it. And the other side that says the potential of the 2 of you or 3 of you together is amazing. And it's just a matter of understanding what individual pieces of guilt and shame and blame each person's going to bring to that process so it can be cleared out early on.
Yes, that's an excellent way to put it. I really like that phrase you had, guilt debt. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, it's guilt debt. It's stuff we put on our own books, and we're cooking our own books with guilt debt.
Yeah, yeah. And it's, you'd think it'd be easy to see, but your own stuff is the hardest to see.
Exactly. And when people come together, in a process, let's say it's like this radio station, 72 separate hosts, that's all listener supported. It's a whole concept that's been brought together by the owner of the station, Nighthawk, who's done a really incredible job. And for those people that like that format, you can stop on by the site support button here at Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com, and you can put in a donation, and that donation keeps this station running. It buys the stream. It does all the things that this radio station needs to be doing. But that's a concept where a bunch of individual people came together to provide what? Information. And Mike does the best that he can do to keep this information straightforward and allow everyone their opportunity of their voice, without the swearing or any of that other stuff that goes in. So there's a cognizant conversation going about what's going on. Alternatively, you have different groups that have formed that, have suddenly said, hey, this form of information, this, and this, it added up to you got 72 hosts. In the healing side, bunches of healers can come together and put on clinics and tour around the country if they had that in their mind, where you could get 10 or 12 or 15 that all reduce their price to one single rate for a day, and you try to push as many people through as possible.
That's an excellent concept.
That's where you gather 7 or 8 people with different skill sets, one in craniosacral, one in past life regression, one in this, one in this, one in this, and you put all those services together and you put them on tour to places where people could never really get them.
Yeah. Or places that, the people there, the population really can't travel.
Right. And then that's where you put together webinars or other scenarios where you can use the remote scenarios. Our conversation in the beginning, there are so many ways for people to come together with the particular skills that they have, whether somebody's an event planner or somebody's good at marketing, and then you've got 4 or 5 people that are really good in different modalities of healing or teaching.
Yeah. It just sounds, I'm just feeling all tingly even hearing you say it. I want to go. We should organize something like that.
Well, you guys can look forward to something like this. We had a little bit of a hint here, but coming after this Christmas, we will, at galactichistorian.com, going to be putting together our own healing course, completely in depth into all the subject matters I've talked about in 3 years into one single course that will take people up to being psychic surgeons and coming together and using all of the different forms and techniques that are out there.
Wow, that is fantastic.
Yeah.
I really think that's an amazing idea. Amazing.
Well, it's been a long time coming, a long time coming, and having a big group of support people in the background has really made it really possible. Both you, Tanat, Adriana, Natalie, all of them have given the platform its chance to evolve here, and now we're taking it to the next level and giving what people have been asking for as a trained course.
Well, that is true. There's been so much interest for things like that. I mean, there has been for a long time. And I mean, really, the fact that you'll be able to have some time to do it is awesome, because we all know how busy you are. So as soon as you have those dates, put them up, because we're all going to be there.
Yep. So sometime at the beginning of the year, you guys can look forward to that. And something else, we just had the Halloween weekend, and I had a really incredible set of interviews with Douglas Dietrich, who's also on this radio station on Tuesdays and Saturdays at 7 o'clock or 10 o'clock Eastern. We went in depth into politics, in depth into the truth behind the military. And in the second one, it's much more of a Halloween-y episode where we talk about relic species, ghouls, and other things. That was just a fabulous, fabulous interview. For people that want to look into that subject matter, go to the Galactic Historian YouTube channel, and you'll see both interviews there, and they're skyrocketing in views right now.
Ooh, wow. I will definitely do that. I missed the actual live show, but I'm glad that I can access it anytime I want on the YouTube.
Actually, those were all pre-recorded. Those weren't live. That's something else that we're doing is a separate of the show that I do with you. Is I'm just interviewing as many people as I can, because that's been the other big request from the audience was the interview style that I do.
Well, you're so good at it.
Multifunctional, exactly. And again, radio, you've been doing radio and TV for a long time. You know what it's like when you do the repetitive over and over and over again.
Yeah. You like to mix it up, make it different, and who knows what will come out of it, right?
Exactly. And then there are things for fun that really have an opportunity of just saying, there's plenty of other subject matters out there that I could talk about that have nothing to do with spirituality whatsoever. And doing that sort of stuff is fun for me as a broadcaster, and it can bring a tremendous amount of, just happiness, when you're able to say, go and interview somebody has nothing to really to do with my subject matter, like a scientist, or something like that.
Yeah. And also I think it's a much fresher perspective as well, isn't it? Because you really don't know anything. Well, you probably know a lot, but you don't really know that much in depth about the topics. So it's like learning. It's like being in a school teacher student forum, but without the angst of being in school.
Exactly. And then there are times, maybe I'll do some interviews of some sports personalities. And again, that's just to say, as a broadcaster, you have many angles to entertain the audience. In this show, it is to inform, entertain, and provide a regular Monday solid rock level of, here you go, guys. We're going to put this forward every Monday. We're going to be doing the call-ins. We're doing this because we understand what the audience wants. And when we give the audience what it wants, you get a whole bunch of other stuff that becomes available.
That's true. It's amazing what one single act can produce a multitude of other doors opening that are so unexpected, all golden, but at the same time you're like, oh, I wouldn't have ever thought that, but yeah, this is fantastic.
Exactly. Like I have one interview set up for late November. It's a very well-known fashion designer, and we're going to be talking fourth and fifth dimensional clothing.
Wow.
Yeah, so she's been in one of my private sessions for quite a few years now, and I finally convinced her to come out and do an interview, and it's going to be a fun interview.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, even to just think of that is mind-boggling. Oh, wow.
And think about what does clothing do for us? It allows us to show emotion. It allows us to do all sorts of amazing things added to our experience of our body.
That is so true.
I remember the first time I had my own silk shirt and how it felt on my body.
Oh, wow. What was the feeling that you had when you had it on? I mean,
it was alive as opposed to the Dacron that I was used to, or the other forms of combined fabrics that I was used to.
Yeah. For me, I don't necessarily remember the feel of material so much as the way it made me feel.
That too, but I felt the aliveness of the silk. I mean, I've had cotton, all 100% wool, 100% cotton shirts before.
Yeah, okay. That breath.
Yes, that breath, exactly, that breath.
Yes, that's true.
And then alpaca was the next time that I felt that type of energy.
Yeah, I could imagine that would be, and it's so different, isn't it? Yeah. I hadn't really thought of it like that before. I mean, when you think about what produced it as well, you are wearing that energy as well, isn't it?
Exactly, that energy that's been on the coat of that animal and been harvested, and the animal still goes out and lives and produces more and more and more. And for thousands and thousands of years, that lineage of animals has been doing that.
Yeah. All the little busy worms.
Exactly.
That's what I've got in my head. I've watched too much Halloween stuff.
And think about the technology behind that, getting a bunch of worms to produce a bunch of silk, and you have a bunch of people collecting it.
I know. It's such, I mean, humans are so awesome in their inventions.
In their inventions, yes. And it was one of the most guarded secrets of silk for the longest time. Because it was mystical of what it could do.
Yeah. I guess it also reminds me of bird's nest. In Asia especially, it's very popular. They eat and consume bird's nest for health, especially for strength, boosting your immune system, but also for beauty, to improve your skin, to have that lovely soft skin and healthy glow.
That's our music. We'll be back in just a moment, and after this break, we'll take calls. All right, everyone, hang on. Welcome back, everyone. We are on the other side of the break, and what we are going to do now is open the calls for people to call in. You can call in at 347-688-2902, or if you want to call from Skype because you are a worldwide international listener, you can do Freedom Screen, FREEDOM, and you can get in through Skype also that way. So, Kathy, are you ready for our first call?
I am. I'm super excited.
I know you didn't get a chance to talk about your bird saliva, but we will save that for another Monday. All right, 908, where are you there?
Kathy, Andrew, New Jersey's back in the house. I would just love for you both to send some sort of psychic something for my seeds. I just put them in the earth, the neck pouch seed process, the corn, the beans, the squash.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, yes.
So I'm just going to get off the phone, but I would like you to give some light language or some good juju for I put them in the soil today, and they're on my altar. Ha-ha.
Okay, well, I've got some good light words for you. Onash, yaha, yiti, yanome, achune, kana, shimahi, hahoya, yitstinde, chaku, naputika. Your seeds have been blessed, and the great growth of the dream world is waiting for you. Should you decide to take these dream seeds and dream the great dream with them, because you are the dreamer dreaming this dream.
Grazie. And I'll get off the phone if either one of you have more to add about my energy, because I know you guys can do that. and I'm holding back so much to let other people through. Thanks. Bye. But I'll be on the radio side.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
Likewise.
Oh, it's great to hear from her again.
Yes, exactly. So why don't you finish your conversation about spider saliva?
Okay.
Bird saliva, sorry.
Well, what I was going to say was the bird's nest. So anyway, apart from the health benefits, a lot of people take it for the look, so that you look more youthful. You know, I don't know about anti-wrinkle. Some people say anti-wrinkle. But what it actually is these birds, when they fly to these nests that they have on this special mountain, they actually salivate, and the saliva then dries up over the nest. And people then go and collect this and use it for, you know, all these different techniques of either health or beauty.
I'm getting some kind of echo back through here.
Hello?
Hello. Your name, your caller, and where you're calling from?
Oh, my God, I actually got on. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. My name's Adam. I'm calling from Pound Ridge, New York.
Pound Ridge, New York. Adam, welcome to the show. What do you want to ask today?
Hey, thanks, Andrew. Yeah, basically, I've been having a lot of challenges in my life for the last 5 years, and the main question I wanted to ask is, what is the basic problem that's wrong with my energy system, and what do I need to do to fix it?
Just give me a second here. When were you born?
January 2nd, 1979.
1979. Did you have some kind of accident before you were age 10 that kind of crippled you?
Not that I'm aware of.
What about emotional debilitation? Mother that was very overbearing?
Yeah, I would say that that's true, and my dad was very stressed out all the time.
All right. This is this is what you're dealing with. When I first scanned into your energy, your date of birth, right away there was this tremendous amount of what I call obscurement energy around your first 10 years of life. And essentially what that means is your mother and father were in continuous psychic argument with each other, and you have been torn back and forth between the two. And this has greatly affected your personality as you've gotten older and older and older, to the point where the first question that you're asking is, what's wrong with my energy? And what's wrong with your energy? It's not yours. You have to get into a deeper understanding of what is you of the now and what was you created during your first 10 years of life. That was the foundation for your personality to create who you are. You've taken on a tremendous amount of psychic debt or karmic debt from your mother, who had a very, very tough time of achieving her own goals, having her own set of friends that she could feel trustworthy around. Have you shed off a lot of friends recently?
I hardly have any friends anymore.
Yeah, you shed them all off. All right,
Hello,
ma'am,
hi.
Yep, we're here. We're on with the other callers. You just have to mute for a second.
Sure.
Okay. So you're taking on a tremendous amount of energy from your mother, and you have to begin to identify that. I think that's the first most important thing that you understand of what's going on in your energy field. The second thing is there are some truths that you have admitted to yourself a whole long time ago that you're not applying to the facts of your life, and that's when you're dealing with actual friends and friendships of who you've taken on as projects versus who are true friendships. Do you know what I mean by taking on people as a project?
I can probably figure out what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. And those people have hurt you the most. Okay?
Mm.
So when we take this mother energy, this project energy, there is a version of yourself that puts you into the traction of negativity. And once you're in that four-wheel geared traction of negativity, that's what's going to be around you. So letting go of the debt that's created by the mother and having your ability to respond to the decisions that you're giving yourself in life. One of those really, really important decisions is what direction are you going to be going in? Is it a spiritual direction? Are you ready to speak to the spirits and ancestors? And what sort of wisdom are you going to use with yourself so your story can be expanded into a much greater self-reliance of energy? So you're no longer using the crutch of the personalities that have imprinted upon you.
Mm.
Kathy, you want to come in with your perspective?
Yeah, I look at your energy and I'd say to me it looks like you're kind of lost. I mean, I know you said you're a little bit lost. I probably didn't simplify it that way. Mm-hmm. But to me, it's like you're searching for something. And really, when you're in a position where you're lost and you're looking for something, you really need to start anchoring down some ideas of what you're looking for. Because when you're just looking everywhere for something but don't know what it is, often things pass you by and you don't realize it. For me, I look at your energy and I'd say you really need to start grounding yourself a bit more. Start thinking about the top two things that are important to you. Whether it's, having a happy relationship, or it's financial gain, or developing a career, whatever those two things are that you consider important, you need to focus on them and put it in your own head in that thought process of, yes, I am lost, but I'm looking for abundance in, career or a relationship, whatever it is, and really start to create it in your head. Because when you can actually visualize that thought in your head, you will find that things that move in front of you suddenly hold interest to you rather than pass you by and you're still in that lost kind of fog.
Mm. What have you been doing for a job lately?
I buy and sell antiques and furniture and art mostly, and I do a little bit of writing and editing on the side also.
So when you're buying antiques and art, are you going to like estate sales and stuff?
A little bit of estate sales, sometimes thrift shops, sometimes I just use Craigslist and find deals that I see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And how did you start doing that?
I was fired from my job about 2 years ago, and I started selling things out of my house just to make money. And I realized I had an eye. I could find things that were very valuable that other people didn't see. And these things just started appearing all around me, and I just contacted Christie's actually to propose selling a bunch of things to them. So it was just by accident, really.
It's a very good thing that you fell into that accidental thing, because it's now opening a whole different layer of energy for you. And I think this is a time where the shedding off of your old friends and the firing of the job is telling you to leave that old life behind and make a brand new one. You've earned the clean slate. And those people that want to come on the new journey will create new memories with you.
Hello. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. I got another question for you.
Yeah.
What brought you into spirituality?
Originally, I started reading Carl Jung when a girlfriend and I had split up, and I wanted to understand what was going on in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And from Jung, that was a pretty easy bridge to a lot of other things.
Mm-hmm. When did you have your first mystical experience?
Probably when I was a kid, maybe at the dentist when I was given nitrous. So I might have been 5 or 6, but maybe earlier than that.
Yeah, you had them before that, but it doesn't really matter. Those are the ones that you remember. And I want to remind you something. Those were spiritual contracts that you were meant to have those experiences very, very early so you can be entrained at a much older age to have much more incredible mystical experiences that you could begin to process on your own. It's just a matter of understanding, you have allies in the spiritual world and you need to begin to call upon them. Okay? It's really important that you call upon these medicine allies, these spiritual allies, and not necessarily just the ones that are guarding and protecting you, but the ones that are your teachers to step forward in your life. I really think you're at a stage of great transition.
What I'm hearing on the phone is what he's saying on there. That's a little delayed.
Yeah, ma'am, you're going to have to mute for just a second.
That's delayed from what I'm hearing.
Yeah. And anyway, so you're going to have to just understand the new layer of life coming for you and allow yourself to create this new layer.
That would be fantastic. Yeah.
All right, do you have any other questions you want to ask?
One other, and I don't want to take up other people's time, but it's a simple question. The John Ellis water machine, I have one. Can you tell me anything about that?
When you're dealing with water machines, you are dealing with programming reality right there. And if you're ready to start programming reality and using it for its programmed reality benefits, you're going to have incredible mystical experiences. There are ways to operate this machine that have a spiritual input inside them, as many other forms of water purification, water reclamation, or any type of water-enhancing device out there. You're working with the foundations of our reality. Your body is 86% water, the world's 72% water, etc., etc., etc. All of those things are about the fundamental change that the alchemist can create with the power of the mind.
I get it.
All right, brother. Thanks a lot. We're going to move on to the next call.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Hello.
So, hello, 479. Are you there?
47. Oh, sorry. I guess I'm not.
Okay. 479. Are you there?
How do you know what number it is?
Your area code. Your area code that you're calling from.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Everyone else has got to mute for a second. 479. Your name and where you're calling from.
Hello. I'm Edie. I'm calling from Arkansas.
Okay. Can you come closer to the phone? It's really, really hard to hear you.
My name is Edie. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you better now.
I'm calling from Arkansas. I wanted to ask you a question about an incident that occurred around 1972. A deer had come into our yard. We had rescued it and stayed with it for a long time, and then it got ready to go, and we helped it out the door, and it turned around as it was leaving and sort of thanked us all for helping it. Well, sometime later that year, I was relaying this story to a friend of mine, and while I was talking about this incident, suddenly I was in the presence of two beautiful light beings. They were made of light and love, and that's all they were. And they were talking to each other in a language that I don't know, but I understood. And I understood that they were saying, and then when they would communicate their light, it was instant. It's not like they had to wait to hear each other. And I was, I'd like to do that. And so right at that moment, the light went around the three of us then. And I don't know, it seems like they transported me somehow. It was like I was in something or on their back, and they showed me the unfolding of the universe, it seems like. And over the years, I was able to remember different things that I was shown, but not all at one time. In fact, at the time, I couldn't remember anything. But throughout life, it has unfolded different things that I've shown. Another question I have is about my daughter, who is bipolar.
Let me answer the first question there.
Okay.
So the first question is, you were dealing with a set of light beings that had initial triggered experience with the deer, and then when you began talking about them sometimes later, you're going to have to turn off your radio in the background.
Oh, I don't have a radio. There's one in the house.
All right.
On
So
your station. Turn that on. Okay, I'll close the door.
Okay. So what it is when the light beings surround a conversation like that, they're your ancestral guardians. And the deer were the representation that the ancestral guardians were there working with you. And when you get introduced to ancestral guardian energy like that, it often goes like what you've just described, where this energy envelops around you, and you begin to hear conversations that have no beginning and end, but it's a continuous stream of information that you know everything about. And that's a very powerful gift, to be introduced to ancestral guardian language. It means that you should be an ancestral shaman of the land, that you will have great and powerful skills at it if you should choose to make yourself disciplined enough to hear the words of nature in its infinite stream, its infinite function, showing the sacred space and respect for all things and all things in existence, but still allowing your personal illumination and clarity to shine through.
Are always in the soil. I'm a gardener, edible landscaping.
Mm-hmm.
I'm full with rocks and live in the woods and have been for a long time. Yes, my question was, who were those beings? And your answer is, they were my ancestral guardians.
Yep.
Thank you. My other question is about my daughter, who is she was diagnosed bipolar many years ago and has been through many, many different types of medicines. And lately she decided not to take any more medications, and she's disappeared in Washington, D.C. And I'm just asking about her safety and what is my blessing in this. Is it to let her go? Or...
We can barely hear you, darling. You got to come really close to the phone.
My question is...
if you're on a speakerphone, turn off the speakerphone.
Oh, I don't have a speakerphone.
I can't tell what it is. It's just really, really low volume from you. You can barely hear you.
I'm sorry. Is this help?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I can talk louder. Did you hear anything I was asking about my daughter?
About your daughter, you've lost her in Washington, D.C., and she's off her meds?
Right. And I was asking about her well-being and...
Okay,
what
Kathy,
is the lesson in this for me?
Okay.
Am I supposed to let her go?
We'll go.
I mean, she's
Yep. So, Kathy, you want to take the challenge of the daughter here?
Yeah.
okay.
And she is a challenge. Beautiful, but a challenge.
Yeah.
I would say, let's put it like this. You really do kind of need to just let it go. Don't worry about her for now. When I look at her choices of deciding to take her medication or not, to me it looks like when she was making these decisions, she wasn't really thinking clearly. But I would agree with her on one part, in that possibly the medication that she was taking was not the right one for her, because I think it was making her, in some ways, some parts of it worse. I would say she's probably started to hear voices more than, or started to hear them since she took that medication. And that's what I would probably assume is a side effect or some reaction to the medication she was on. So certainly I would agree with her in that that particular medication is not the one for her. You will hear from her again, and it won't take too long, so don't be disheartened. But she's on her own journey right now, and you really need to just be okay with it and not. I know you're a mother, so it's almost impossible to tell you not to worry.
Yes.
Just trust in that she will contact you again soon. And when she does, she's already started a journey to, let's say, getting healthier getting it more together. It's going to be a longer journey for her than for most people, but I'd say 12 to 18 months from now, she's in a much more stable environment. She herself is much more stable. She's under some type of care or medication, and it's really helping. So just be patient and trust that it's going to be okay.
Well, thank you very much for your insights and for all your information today and always. I appreciate it so much. Have a wonderful day, and
I got one more thing for you about your daughter.
Yes, sir.
So right now, what caused her to go off the medication was a man, and a man that was telling her, if you're on medication, I can't love you. And it's really confused her.
If you're not on medication, is that what
Yeah.
I can't love you.
Yeah, I can't love you. So she's really torn.
Well,
so you have to
raised
understand.
her with herbal medicine. All my births were natural births.
Yeah, you did what you
knows
needed to
the
do.
Natural path.
Yes. And that's what's coming. When she comes back to, she'll be ready for the natural path.
Okay. Thank you so much. You ease my heart and soul.
Thank you. You have a really good day.
You too. It will be.
All righty. Thanks a lot, darling.
Bye.
Thank you all very much.
Okay, we're going to move on to the next caller. 408, are you there?
I'm here.
Where are you calling from and your name?
San Jose, California, and my name's Trisha.
Hi, Trisha from San Jose. What kind of questions do you want to ask today?
So many. I can't believe I got through. I guess, I don't know, maybe if I could just get like a basic reading. I have been through some stuff the last couple of years. Like, I was like pretty much ambushed by this, I think a cult or something. And they're still kind of messing with me. I think using like black magic against me and stuff. So I don't even, I know it's just way too much to get into, but maybe you can just do like a basic reading. Tell me what I need to do because I'm kind of lost and stuck. I don't know what to do to move forward.
Okay. What year were you born?
81.
1981. Do you have sisters?
No, I have 2 younger brothers, and I have a son who's going to be 18 at the end of this month.
At some point in your life, did you have someone that you called a sister? Maybe a friend that you just labeled like a sister?
No, I had a best friend. I had a couple of readings done by some other people, and in regards to my relationships, all the different mediums that I spoke to told me that like I was cursed and all my relationships would deteriorate. So I did have a best friend, and we stopped being friends, probably about 8 years ago or so when I was like 24, 25.
The reason I ask is you have this connected sister energy to you that's in a very perverted form. And this is what's bringing all of this negative energy to you. It's like a sister energy has been slighted, the old term, to beware of a woman scorned. Sometimes women scorn women. And this is an ancestral debt that's coming through this lifetime. Something where you've completed a life review and gone through your resolution of whatever was done thousands and thousands of years ago. But this other person has been reborn this lifetime with still open contracts, even though they should be closed. And they're beginning to take it out upon you. You must understand that this is not an individual physical being. This is an unseen being who's unable to be manifest in this reality. So your first thing that you have to do is be very, very disciplined with your boundaries. Okay, and that's Contract Revocation 101. Step 2 is Spiritual Hygiene 102, where it's not just a little fluff cloud of sage here or there. It's where you regularly sage your room where you're sleeping, your house where you're living, the family members that you work with that allow it to allow saging to go on. You must become strict and disciplined with that. That's your first 101, 102 layer of boundaries. Then the next stage is understanding that this individual being has been doing this to you for a very long time, since you were a kid. Think of somebody just walking down the street and walking by and slapping a kid that they've never met. That's what this being is doing to you.
Yes.
Okay? And it has triggered other beings who aren't necessarily good guys to become bad guys. around you.
Mm-hmm.
It's a trickster. And you have to realize this is something that came from ancestral debt, from the family lineage. So did your mother have a scenario where there were backstabbing in the sisters, maybe? Or your father?
Oh, yeah. Well, my, both my parents, they're kind of like the black sheep of the family. My mom is not really, like, she has some mental health issues, but, it was pretty hard growing up in my family.
Right. So,
both my parents have problems.
Yeah, that answers it all right there. So you really have to target the energies of your childhood, where you have to bring your present self back to your ancient present self when you were a kid, and to remind yourself to not take on the energies when you were there. This is the disciplined form of meditation, where you take the challenge of memories. All right, hold on a second. We're going to go on to our break, and we'll get back to your session as soon as we come back. All right, everyone, we'll be back in a couple minutes.
You're listening to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, 100% listener-supported radio, and now we return you to your host.
And welcome back, everyone, to the second hour of Adventures into Reality. We're going to continue our caller. Tricia, are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
So what we were talking about before, about the energies that you've been taking on. So what is it that you're doing for a job?
Well, I work from home. I just do administrative work, but work from home.
What did you do before that?
I've been doing this for the last 12 years.
Okay.
I work for IBM. I have an office, but I've been just working strictly from home for the last 2.5, 3 years.
And what was the reason?
The reason that from what I've been through, I had moved to Gilroy. I was living in San Jose. I moved like 2 towns over to the little city of Gilroy. And I felt like I was hurted there, because that's where everything happened. That's where everything happened. I was told that the Freemasons were involved. And, if I could tell you, like, honestly, what I was told, this one psychic lady was helping me last year. And she told me that I was selected to bring upon, the Antichrist or something like that. That's why they were after me.
Listen, that's bullshit.
Yeah,
that's bullshit.
But I was they were sending me dreams and stuff, like, whoever these people that were coming after me, they would come to me in my dreams. And there was one time and there is somebody in my life that is, part of it, that he's working with these people trying to get me to do if I don't do what they say, that they're going to, I don't know. They told me that they're going to send me to Skinwalker Ranch, and anyhow, the guy that's involved.
Have you dumped this guy?
I haven't talked to him since January, but he still comes around. He still, he was just here a couple of weeks ago, tried to talk to me, but he is part of this. I know he's part of this cult or whatever, but his name's Victor. And they try to black me. They try to blackmail me with him.
Hold on, stop.
Okay.
First thing first is fear has taken over you. You have to realize you've given your power away to fear right now. Fear of the unknown, of some power that someone may be wielding esoterically. You have more power in you, with the power of your own voice, to send this energy that you believe is being projected at you right back to them. And I'm going to help you with that right now. Have you heard me do the repeat after me process?
Yes.
All right, so I want you to repeat after me. I, in this ever-present moment.
I, in this ever-present moment.
Choose to acknowledge.
Choose to acknowledge.
The avalanche of fear.
The avalanche of fear.
That has been projected at me.
That has been projected at me.
And I have projected to the world.
And I have projected to the world.
I end this now.
I am this now.
I break all contracts, vows, and agreements.
I break all contracts, vows, and agreements.
With all energy harvesting entities.
With all energy harvesting entities.
That are acting in 1 degree of separation of me.
that are acting in 1 degree separation of me.
I ban and banish
I ban and banish
anything that is occult energy.
anything that is occult energy.
I invoke my natural rights as a human being,
I invoke my natural rights as a human being,
born through the womb of another sacred feminine.
born to the womb of
Another
from another sacred feminine.
With this knowledge,
With this knowledge,
I grow roots into my great fertility.
I'm sorry.
I grow roots into my great fertility.
I grow roots into my great fertility.
With my innocent inner child,
With my innocent inner child,
I return home
I return home
to my ancestral place of power
to my ancestral place of power
and reveal my records
and reveal my records
to all of my ancestors present.
to all the
All of my ancestors present.
to all of my ancestors present.
So my self-expression
To my self-expression
is complete.
is complete.
I now invoke my right
I now invoke my right
of the shaman's death.
of the shaman's death.
All previous forms of magic
All previous forms of magic
I have done
I have done
or has been done to me
or have been done to me
are brought back to the galactic central sun
are brought back to the galactic central sun
for complete recyclement.
for complete recyclement.
I take this a moment to honor
I take this moment to honor
and nurture myself,
and nurture myself,
knowing that I am creating my own road once again,
knowing that I am creating my own road once again,
with my own thoughts,
with my own thoughts,
my own self,
my own self,
separate of every other influencing being, separate of every other influencing being.
sacred of every other influencing being.
I take this moment of passion
I take this moment of passion
to reflect on my healing,
to reflect on my healing,
to honor my menstrual cycle,
to honor my menstrual cycle,
to give away any deep-seated fears
to give away any deep-seated fears
that these people have power over me.
that these people have power over me.
I have successfully gone through my rites of passage
I have successfully gone through my rites of passage
and now do my ritual of joy,
and now do my ritual of joy,
so I may share with thee all
so I may share with thee all
my new ability,
my
new ability to be my sovereign self
to be my sovereign self
without any other influence,
without any other influence,
and so be it.
and so be it.
That's a lot of energy that came off of you.
Yeah.
Okay, Kathy, I want to bring you in here for a second.
I wasn't really sure if I heard the first bit of what you said when you first started. Did you say that you were involved with a cult, but now you're separated from it?
Not that I was involved with it, but I feel that they've been following me my whole life, and I think we're trying to maybe recruit me or something for the last 3 years. They were using. I mean, last night was a really rough night for me. I haven't felt anything from them for a couple weeks now. I was actually staying with my parents, which is kind of nice because I've lived on my own since I was 18.
Mm-hmm.
And you know,
so it's more that they've just been around you in your life rather than you have been part of them. Would that be right?
Yeah, I believe that they've been following me. I mean, everything from my neighbors to the nurses in the hospital. There was a nurse in the hospital. I had to have a blood transplant like 3 years ago. And this nurse in the hospital was creeping me out. And this was right before everything began. She was creeping me out. Like, she was scaring me. Like,
yeah. Okay.
And anyhow, so I ended up seeing her again. She approached me in the mall like a year later, came up to me and like looked me straight in the eye. At first, I didn't know who it was, but I had my son with me. She looked me straight in the eye and she's, I don't know, saying like these really like crude comments about marrying your son, and I don't know, just talking to this other person. They're trying to pervert me, like, with this guy, other guy that was involved. They're trying to.
Okay, I get that. I get it. Okay, thank you. I'm sorry, I was just having trouble hearing you at the beginning.
Okay.
Okay, well, when I look at your energy and, especially when you're talking about things like that, to me, there are a lot of alarm bells that are ringing. One thing that I guess is the most useful information for you to know is that you're like a beacon. And I'm going to just put it more simply. You're like a beacon for weirdos.
For weirdos?
I don't have another more polite way to say it, and we're
That's your weirdo SOS beacon. I like that.
Yeah, turn it off. No, but in all seriousness, you are like a beacon to them. There's something about your energy because you're a naturally very creative person. So if you just put your mind to something, it's easy for you to create things. And this is a type of energy that weirdos love because it's like a piggyback system. They want to know you or get to know people like you so that you can create things for them so they don't have to do it or they don't have the ability to do it. Other words that jump to mind besides weirdo is users, emotional vampires, you name it. They're all in that category.
It's like they keep on wanting to hurt my feelings, and that's all they want to do. I don't know if they're feeding off the energy because, it took me a couple of years to figure them out and how they work, but it was like they wanted to hurt my feelings, like or make me feel bad. Or
give it too much time. You really think of it like this: because you are a beacon and you are very creative, you're very receptive, and you're very vulnerable to all sorts of energy and thoughts and nuances that other people may not necessarily pick up on. So you have to think about how you're going to shut that down. How are you going to close that energy circle so that you're in a self-protection bubble, let's call it. Because once you have that, you will find that, it's like a weirdo repellent, So everything that you need to focus on at the moment is all about grounding yourself, self-protection at all levels. And this goes from emotional, mental, physical, grounded, that kind of self-protection. And I don't mean, like go out and learn karate. I mean, on a day-to-day level, how do you not be open to all these things? So one thing, the simple things that you can do, make sure that you're grounded more. Because even though you are grounded now, you need to have extreme grounding. Think of yourself as like that great giant oak tree out in the forest. You need to be like that kind of grounded, not just the little elm tree that's only a few years old. So whether it's walking on grass, it's, even filling up the bathtub, flipping your feet in water, whatever it takes for you to physically feel grounded, you must do that every day. The second thing you need to do is start having a ritual where you just do something for yourself every day that in your mind it's like a self-protection. So whether it's you get, let's say, black tourmaline crystal and put it one next to your desk, one near the door, so that any negative energy that's coming towards you is just repelled back. So it's very user-friendly. You don't have to do anything. It's a self-cleansing kind of stone in many ways. But at the same time, you will start to see how it starts to create that invisible barrier for you between you and the weirdos. Then you have to visualize. Sorry?
Also, defining your sacred space, your boundaries and borders, very vital for you. Yes. Because these beings are trouncing over your borders because you just had a little tape fence up, and that's all that was there, attracting them to the bright light.
How do I do that? I don't know how to do it. I would love to know how to do that.
Have you done the contract revocations is what makes a tape line into a fence line. That's the first layer.
Yes.
The second layer is protecting your bed and the four corners of your room. All the things that I've been saying on these shows for going on 3 years now, you need to take the 101 and 102 concepts and make them your own so that your space is sacred and nothing can violate it. And if something does violate it, you have words prepared that are powerful enough and bravado enough to eject something out of your energy field that is forcefully projecting into you. When you make a boundary and you don't enforce it, what are you telling your guardian spirits?
Yeah, I will try. I have been the contract with her. I just had one more question. So this guy and the psychic lady that was helping me, she told me that he was my twin flame.
He's not.
And that
he's not.
And that
he's not.
He's
Stop. You have got to really weigh up what some of these people have been telling you. They've been feeding your fear.
Okay.
And I'm not knocking who it is. I'm just saying sometimes when you have energies that are there, psychics get easily confused, or they just tell you what you want to hear, because that's the only kind of psychic skill they have at that moment. Did they give you anything to empower yourself versus with that information?
Well, she did. Well, she really did help me, because nobody wanted to help me at first, and they were attacking me like, I don't know what is demons or the energy or whatever they were doing. Like it was like daily. I could feel them passing through my body, whatever it was.
Because what had happened, you had already exchanged energy with an entity in your dream space. Because you had no boundaries.
Well, I was saying that lady, she did help me. She did like protection spells on me and stuff. And she really helped me.
Ultimately, it didn't really do anything. It's still, the process is still there.
Yeah, because then she just disappeared, her and her whole family. And I just disappeared, and it broke my heart, and I had nobody, helping me. And then I started listening to you.
There's your answer. They disappeared and broke your heart. Okay? Both Kathy and I are about empowering the individual. There isn't anything that anyone out there cannot do. One of our incredible callers, Dawn, who has gone through tremendous psychic attacks and has able to physically survive, from doing the ancestral connections, the ancestral soups, getting into a deeper understanding of what was going on in her. I'm absolutely convinced everything that's going on in your life right now is related to your past lives. For you going out and having a past life regression to deal with some of the darkness that your soul has been contracted to deal with. And then an understanding that there are other things where people are projecting a contract upon you that you've already finished in another life review. And this is where you have to stand into your spiritual sovereignty and say no with your fist pounding on the table, with the echo in your voice that all of eternity hears it. If you cannot have that bravado, that self-confidence, they will continue to trounce over your energy field.
Got it.
All right, darling, we've got to move on to the next caller.
Okay,
thank you very much.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
So the next caller is 206. Are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yep. Your name and where you're calling from?
My name is Terry, and I'm calling from Los Angeles, California.
Terry from Los Angeles, California. What kind of questions do you want to ask?
Well, I had a dream a couple weeks ago that I just like to get some clarity on. I was somewhere in the UK, I want to say like Ireland or somewhere, and I went to this crypt that was covered in moss, and I'm not really quite sure what language it was, but there was this man pacing. I feel like he'd been waiting for like hundreds and hundreds of years for someone to come to this crypt, and apparently I had the key to open it up. And as I'm getting ready to open it up, a being came down who was outlined in all gold and prevented this man from coming after me and kind of squeezed him like in a Hulk-like fashion. And when I opened up the crypt, I got these books, and I'm not quite sure if they were books on magic or what was it. And I took these books, and as I was flying away, these two ladies came out, and they threw something at the gold man, I guess you could call him, and he cut the cords that was connected to us so that I could get away. And then the next thing you know, there were some members of the royal family who weren't too happy that I had these books. So I'm just curious as to what exactly are these these books that I
think
got in the dream state.
It's better off to identify what the dream is. And what the dream is you were actually connecting to a life review, another version of yourself was happening that was very, very vital for you to understand of what scale your soul has been working at in previous lifetimes as part of resistance for the earth, going against the different powers that be out there. And that this lifetime you were not to be going against the powers that be, because if you did, you would be constantly be on the road and chased and not have a home, not grow a family, not have love. Which is something your soul has dealt with a lot. You've been chased around the universe. And this lifetime, you were putting your foot down and going, I'm not going to be chased. I'm not going to be the villain on the run.
Right. Okay. Because I feel like I've kind of switched sides. I've been going back and forth. And I feel like now, since listening to you, like I'm now becoming my own sovereign being. And I know that I'm here for a great purpose, you know, and so, like the last caller, I've been attacked continuously, but I've been setting my boundaries and doing what I needed to do, so that would not continue to be happening. Do you have any other information for me, or?
Sure. I want to round this concept out. You started off with the dream, and as you've been hearing, I've been asking, what do you do for a job? And there are reasons behind these questions.
I'm a nanny right now.
You're in what?
I'm a nanny.
Nanny, okay.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing that for?
For about maybe a little longer than, 5 years.
Okay, 5 years. So I want to bring Kathy in now here and bring her perspective now that we've got a foundation of who you are.
Okay.
When I look at your energy, to me it looks like you're at a stage in your life where it's time for you to move forward. You've garnered a lot of information. You've looked everywhere. You've searched for things. And it's now, you know, that stock-taking time, I suppose we'd call it, where you're looking at what you do know, what you have learned, what skills that you enjoy doing. Not that you necessarily know, because you do have a lot of skills, but the ones that you enjoy doing. And then focusing on, with all that information, where do you want to go next? Because to me, it looks like where you are at this moment, it's convenient. It's not necessarily something that you have fought to get to or evolved out of desire for, but it's served a purpose. I suppose is a better way to put it.
Yes.
Once you have, let's say, write a list of the top 8 things that you think are vital things that you have learned, and the skill set you have that came with it. And
hey, hold on, everyone. We'll be after the break.
The galaxies. It's like
freedomslips.com. 100% listeners. Turn you to your host.
And welcome back, everyone, as we are continuing our conversation. Caller, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, so go ahead, Kathy.
Okay, so getting your list together of the information you've gathered, the skills that you've gathered, I'd say go with the top 8 things and really start to look at that list. Just do it for like every day for a week, maybe once or twice a day, because 2 of them are really going to jump out at you. And it's those 2 skills and the information you've garnered is what is going to take you into the next phase of your life. You'll think, why didn't I think of that before? But then unless you take that quiet time to think about it, it doesn't come to you. And the minute you recognize it, the opportunities will come. I look at your career and where you're going, and I would say that you can expect a big change next year.
Okay.
It's something that you will find more fulfilling, nothing that you've done before, but at the same time, it seems to go hand in hand with the things that you are doing. You'll sort of go, oh, that's kind of freaky. You know, why don't I think of that? But when the opportunity comes, you won't mistake it. Whether I tell you this or not, it will happen, and you'll be like, oh, now I know what I've been doing this last few years. And it's that self-realization as well, and the potential that you have, which is what's going to really motivate you to do great things.
Okay. Awesome.
It's definitely
Thank you. Yeah.
a very exciting time to be in.
You're right. I feel like I'm on the cusp of something big, like something's supposed to be coming in, but I feel like I'm waiting for this energy of the next couple weeks of this year to kind of leave, so that to bring in the energy for the new year. So,
but the dense energy is starting to move off from you, and you have to realize, you know, as I was saying earlier, you have another version of yourself that said it's not going to be on the road and running anymore.
Right.
You have to realize that the dreams that you're going to begin to experience are reminding your dreaming body is taking care of the immediate missions that need to be done for other soul family members. And your contract this lifetime with the dreaming body is to be as far away from that as possible of doing missions in your physical life. Okay?
Okay. Missions for like the family, or just my missions
No,
in general?
missions in general that could put you in harm.
Okay.
You are not to be in harm's way this lifetime. It was your spiritual goal to give that task to this I Am Presence, to figure out with the unlimited, sacred, neutral point of view what you can do that does not put you on the path to war and the path to being like a psychic CIA spy. You aren't doing that
Right.
anymore.
Yeah, I feel like that. I feel. I get what you're saying, because I kind of feel like I was doing that at first, and then I started doing the revocations and just really cleaning out my energy. When I did the revocations, I just kind of felt like a shift in those hidden contracts that I felt like I had. So
I think your next layer for you is attempting to do the telling your story by the fire at a very serious disciplined level, where you just go through as many memories as possible, write them down on paper, bring them to that fire, and say them with your authentic voice. And then when you're done with that, it's going to be a very powerful clearing out phase for you, because much like the other caller, you've earned the clean slate. Your soul gave it to you at birth. You are not indebted to any of these other time travel concepts, these other concepts that a lot of others, are bringing forth, because your particular purpose, it's a bifolded process of being the healed healer. Whatever method you choose, whether it's hands-on or singing, it doesn't matter. It's still a process of manifesting a healing energy that can be used by many people.
Okay.
A whole new way of thinking.
Yeah, it is a whole new way of thinking. And I feel like writing is supposed to be my vehicle in order to do that. But I kind of feel like I've been kind of putting that off, because some of the things that I do want to talk about, I don't talk about, because I don't want to be put in harm's way, if that makes sense.
I understand that, and that is where writing will be your shield for that, so you can still explore some of those subjects, but not be entangled with them.
Right. Okay, gotcha.
Okay. What kind of stuff are you writing?
Some things I write. Sometimes I write like interracial romance novels. Sometimes I write esoteric information that I get downloaded to me.
Okay. Have you published anything?
No, not yet.
Okay. How many years have you been writing now?
Probably since I got out of college, so since I was 22, I would say.
Okay,
How many years I've been writing in general? Probably since I got out of college, but there has been a project that I've been working on for the past 9 years.
Okay. And what's that project?
It's basically kind of like my soul's journey and what I've been through, and I guess helping other people to connect with their awareness through my story.
So why don't you try reading that project in front of the fire as a starter?
Okay.
Okay? And then what I'd like for you to do is to begin to combine genres. challenge yourself each week to take all the little short stories or one paragraph things that you've come together and begin to try to combine the old energies with the new you that's going forth with a different way of thinking, a different spiritual locomotion than the person that created the foundation that you're working with. By doing that, you'll be able to connect to the old inspirational muse and the new inspirational muse, and then have a council of muses assist you in your next inspirational creational process.
Okay. Awesome.
Okay.
Well, thank you guys so much.
Sure. Thanks a lot.
Okay.
All right.
Are you going to say something else? Or? Oh,
unless you had another question.
No, I think that's it for now.
All righty, darling. Take it
all
easy.
Right, thank you guys for all your work. I appreciate
You're
it.
Welcome.
You're welcome.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
We've had a bunch of... Hello, caller, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you.
Your name and where you're calling from?
I'm Tracy. I'm calling from Toronto.
Hi, Tracy from Toronto. What kind of questions do you want to ask?
I have quite some questions, but I know you possibly don't have much time left for me now, so I will try. There's something happened for me during my meditation. I've been meditating every day since beginning of the 2012. And can I describe what happened to me?
Sure. Go ahead.
About 3 weeks ago, when I was meditation, I feel like I saw some like a laser-shaped kind of multiple beams of light, and I kind of focus my mind looking into it. Then I see a big like a ball of the light, very, very bright. I know the energy is strong. I kind of take a risk when I look into it. And when I look into it, the lower part of that big, bright light ball, I saw some like a kind of dark fog-like moving shape into a face of a man. And there are some sound kind of saying something, but when I kind of get out of the status, I forgot about it. So do you know what happened?
You had an ancestral visitation during your meditation, and the light beings that you were beginning to experience are there knocking on your door saying, we are there, and they want to begin to form some form of friendship or relationship with you that doesn't interfere with your sacred space and your meditation. But during meditation, oftentimes we become a very bright light that's attempting to communicate to the whole universe. And the form of meditation you're doing is assisting you at connecting to the Great Spirit, the Great Mystery, as well as the Galactic Central Sun, which is part of your soul's purpose, is to be that medium to the Galactic Central Sun, so you can assist other beings in moving on that haven't figured out how they can move back to the Galactical Central Sun for recyclement. So these beings that are communicating with you are trying to help you understand there's a companionship that's waiting for you, and a different form of meditation, separate of your regular meditation, that is designed to have that communication with those beings in a protected space is what they're trying to get forward here.
How do you describe those moving kind of fog shape? They are dark, right? Because it's kind of very obvious, and it becomes to a face, which is like a black color. You know what I mean?
When something is trying to make first contact, our minds fill in the blank. Okay? Sometimes there's a little bit of fear there. And I'm sensing the entities even at this moment now. They're your ancestral links. They're your bonds to being able to live in the Toronto area and still be a grounded psychic person.
It's like a real alive person.
No, it's an ancestor spirit.
Ancestor, okay. What's possibly going to happen next then?
It's up to you. They've knocked on the door. It's a matter, are you going to begin to work with them or not?
Yeah, I'm sorry if I'm asking very inexperienced kind of question. It's my first time calling. So you mentioned that I should try some other type of the meditation.
Yes, where you're going to put on your you're going to put on your calendar, I'm doing a different kind of meditation with the intended purpose of communicating to these beings. where you start, you create an actual ritual and ceremony of protection, and you put a golden tube of light all around you during this process so that you can communicate with these guides that are trying to work with you.
Okay. I will think of that.
Hold on one second. I want to bring Kat. Hold on one second. We've got plenty of time. I want to bring Kathy in here. She's got another perspective that I think you're going to like.
Okay, thank you so much.
I look at your energy, and to me, it looks like you're searching. You know, it looks like you're on a journey. You've been looking for a lot of things. You're exploring all sorts of avenues of, let's call it spiritual enlightenment, strange happenings, and probably some modalities of alternative type of healing. Are you doing the fasting at the moment?
No, not really. I don't. I sometimes, because I've been meditation so many years, 4 years. Sometimes I feel like I don't have to. I only eat like 70%. I'm full already, and also my breath the pattern changed. I feel like my breath very light to me, which is possibly the prana,
Okay, I ask you the question because to me it looks like I'm looking at the energy of your body, and it looks like you get lightheaded quite a bit. So usually for me, when I see that kind of energy, someone has been fasting or doing dieting. So possibly if you are eating and you're still feeling full, have a look at the type of food that you're eating, because I think sometimes when you feel the lightheaded, it's because you're not getting the right type of nutrition.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I don't mean go and eat candy.
Right.
I mean, just look at like maybe you need to add a little bit more meat or some type of vegetable, but have a look at your diet, because if you can alter your diet a little bit, I think you will not feel so lightheaded all the time, because I think sometimes you think it is a spiritual kind of thing when really it is more like a health kind of thing. So that's the first thing that I notice about you. The second thing when I look at your energy is that you're searching for that big questions in life, and you will spend your lifetime just sort of wondering about big questions, because in actual fact the kind of big questions you're asking, there is no answer. Well, not in this lifetime. The question is too big. So you must be patient with yourself. Sometimes when you cannot get the answers that you're seeking, it's not because you're looking in the wrong place. It is because that is too much information that you can't possibly know all of it in your lifetime here.
Take time come to me. Okay.
Well, not just take time, but more you must understand that your brain can only take so much. You can only read so much, in let's say you live for 100 years. You can only learn so much in 100 years. You cannot learn 1,000 years of knowledge in 100 years. So yeah, I know, because I can see you are the seeker, but when you can accept that you will not learn everything, you will actually enjoy more of the information that you're learning and what you are finding out about yourself and the universe and people around you, and digest it better. And you can incorporate that into your life. Because for me, when I look at your life over the next 2 years, it's a lot of changes coming up, very exciting change, including I think you will move. Did you say you were in Toronto?
Yes, I'm in Toronto. Yes.
Yeah, I don't think you will stay in Toronto. For me, that is just a stop place for now. You will go somewhere which is, I would consider warmer. Actually, I haven't been to Toronto myself, so I don't know what the weather is like.
No, I originally, I lived in China for many years. My life, I moved in Toronto about 15 years ago. So I don't know about my next 2 years.
What part of China did you come from?
My birthplace is in Middle China. It's a province called Sichuan. And after my graduation from university, I moved to southern China. It's a city called Shenzhen. It's very, very close to Hong Kong. I lived there for 7 years.
Fantastic city. Yeah, I know it well.
Yeah, you know Shenzhen well. Yeah, I think I listened to your show. You mentioned that, and that's I call it my second hometown. It's a new city with lots of younger professional with more open-minded. Actually, that's one of my question. I like to ask because I noticed your caller is a lot from North America. How do you forecast or say the potential of the energy or awakening in China?
Ooh, good question. I've been exposed to a lot of China energy over the last 2 years. Both through Kathy and Natalie and a bunch of other sources. And there is a tremendous upswell of energy in the potential of great creation there. Its only limitations is its old esoteric sources that will attempt to block new sources. But at the same time, they are allowing new sources in because the people that are going into the business are learning Western techniques and applying Eastern techniques at the same time. So you have this tremendous melting pot. And when you have a melting
so fast. Every time I go back, I can feel like their mindset is changing and improving so fast to especially the younger generation.
I have a number of private people that I do sessions with that are professional energy healers in China, in Hong Kong, in the main provinces, and their business is booming, not because acupuncture and acupressure isn't working, because it's so different.
The Chinese medicine is totally kind of different mindset of the healing, because we call it like the Chinese medicine is to heal and the Western surgery is to cut. I'm not totally correct, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, exactly. But the esoteric practices that people are bringing into China and are combining with the Chinese discipline, which is far different than the American discipline. Many of the Chinese are taught at a much earlier age to understand energy in a different translated form than English. So it's a part of their belief system. You don't, in the stuff of horror movies here doesn't fly in China because you can just turn on a light bulb and scare someone over there. Very different culture.
That's interesting. I hope one day you will visit China, because there's some. I think people are looking forward to even translate your information into Chinese.
Yes, that will happen. That's inevitable.
Oh, that's wonderful. And can I please ask you a question?
Sure.
Since I've been meditation, every day, like morning and night, and awaken even longer hours, can you please read for me like the source of my soul and also the purpose of my soul or soul contract, like those information?
Yes. So when you first immigrated here to Earth, you came from a Pleiadian expression. You were a seventh dimensional Pleiadian spiritual guardian. That's the best way I can describe you. You did not have physical form, but you oversaw many, many ancestral lineages that the Pleiadians created and then went out to other worlds and then imprinted upon other worlds the Pleiadian perspective. So they were colonists. So you were a higher dimensional energy that oversaw colonists, did function with technology. You could enter some of their great ships and essentially be like an intelligence inside their great computers that was teaching people how to go to a brand new world, how to create ancestral relations with it, how to not create karmic pollution for that new world, as well as bringing brand new forms of life on that world that can grow in conjunction with the will of the world. When you got entangled into timeline genocide and were brought here to Earth, it was under the aspect of Earth had been heavily infested with outside sources that were creating great pollution, and you became you lost part of your seventh dimensional perspective and became a fifth dimensional Lemurian. who had thousands and thousands of years of memory suddenly added to yourself because a previous iteration of your lineage had been involved in timeline genocide from the very beginning, which then entangled you into the four multiple paradoxes that were there and separated you from your fifth and your seventh dimensional self until you are what you are now, the most distilled basic version of yourself who's struggling and at other times creating brand new forms of sovereign free will through the act of disciplined meditation so you can bring more and more of your parts and selves back to yourself. Okay?
Wow. Interesting.
So there's another thing that, hold on, there's another thing that I want to bring up. This lifetime that you're living now, the last lifetime that you led would have been in the 1930s to the early 1950s, somewhere around there. It was a short lifetime, and it was in, how do I describe this? Sweden.
Sweden.
Sweden. It's a very important lifetime for you because it was the lifetime that you said no to the great military domination that was going on.
It sounds like something I would do.
Not something that you would normally, but this was your lifetime that you were a freedom fighter, a guerrilla, so on and so forth. So you were a part. You were part of World War II. You became part of the Allied resistance movement, and did a lot of things to assist the World War II process. And when it was over, you even went further and you went on mine recovery detail. The oceans had mines in it, the lands had mines in it, and you went all over the various countries disarming landmines and died while disarming a landmine. And that was part of your spiritual contract to go through that. And then it was done. You were to be done with war because so many other scenarios you had been entangled with war.
Wow. Really? I've been in a war?
Oh, yeah. You've been around long enough that you've done the complete cycle of stuff here.
But my personality, I totally ignore anything about the war because I know it's
you're done with
wrong.
Right,
it's
because
wrong.
You're done with it.
I'm done with it. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
That was the lifetime you broke the reincarnation cycle of war. Okay.
How is my a soul family? Where are they? Or how I can connect with them better or something?
Soul family are an elusive bunch. We only know soul family when we meet them and we understand the depths of who they are and the type of relationship and companionship you can build with them. When we're confronted with that and accept it, we learn that soul family can be technically everywhere. Because the way Earth is set up, technically everyone is soul family to everyone else out there. It is just these factionary concepts that keep us separated. So you have soul family that are around you, but are these the soul family you are building spiritual contracts that are going to assist the next 7 future generations in the process of the Great Awakening? So you're looking for those soul families that can essentially go on spiritual tour with you, that can match your meditation process, your visionary processes to begin to change the world by people beginning to practice the techniques with discipline behind them.
Wow. Okay. When you talk about the 7th generation, does it mean people graduate, then they leave this matrix and next turn or people coming? No, they don't leave?
Nope. Everyone is stuck here in this realm until we figure out in unity consciousness how to reverse engineer hierarchical order. That's the very nature of the system and world that we're in right now. So the great Dreamtime awakening that everyone is going through is what's called a separation of densities, those that are asleep and those that are awake in both worlds. Asleep means you're awake in this world and then asleep in the dream world. You're practicing the meditation so you can be in both worlds simultaneously, walking the dream weed, and eventually manifest what's in the dream world, in the dream mind, into this physical world.
Wow, you mentioned the dream world. Actually, I have a next question, if I may. Just happened after that light ball the next day. Can I please tell you about that? So I was in meditation. Usually when I would kind of be in that OBE.
All right, darling, we've got to go. That is our music. Thanks a lot, very much. Maybe we can get you in on the next time around.
Sure. Thank you so much, Andrew.
Thanks a lot, everyone. Yeah. And if you want to go. Yeah, and if you want to get a hold of us, you can go to Andrew Bartzis, AndrewBartzis.kajabi, KAJABI.com, and you can sign up for the free ceremonial teachings and get on our mailing list. All right, everyone, take it easy.
Thanks.